Hey, today we're talking about how to improve your listening skills. Yeah, you might be praying, but is your brain really listening? That is a skill you can improve today. I figure because you clicked on this video, you are someone who prays. So I'm going to talk to you as though you pray. If you don't pray and you're just watching, that's cool. That's really cool. But I'm going to talk to you as though you pray or meditate, meaning you're trying to communicate with a higher power. Now, in communicating with a higher power, we're claiming that we are a lower power. We got to make sure we're clear on this. If there's a higher power, like the universe or God or the life force of the planet, whatever name you need to use to give it an identity, when we're communicating with this higher power, we are admitting that we are of a lower power, and we are attempting to reach up for help. And just to let that soak in for a second, because when I meet people who say, I don't get answers to my prayers, I ask them, I go, what are you doing so that you're looking for the answers? And they say, well, I don't think God talks to me. And I need to remind them that they are of a lower power speaking to a higher power, and it's us that gets to learn how to see, hear, and feel the messages coming from a higher power. So there's see, hear, and feel the messages. Like we're learning how to do this. Now, my belief is that when we pose questions to our higher power, that this higher power honors and respects us and also wants to teach us how to develop a relationship or a communication with our higher power. And so if I'm going to approach a higher power to ask for help or guidance or clarification or for healing or mending, if I'm going to approach a higher power, I probably could prepare myself a little bit more, right? I could get ready for this and be more organized in how I'm doing this, because I could just like say a prayer, and throw out a prayer and then go on through the rest of my day just expecting God to be loud and very, obvious. But that's not how he works. He doesn't work loud and obvious. The way he works is he wants us to learn how to listen. Because that means we are striving to listen to him. That's what we're doing, is we're actually in the practice of becoming better listeners so we can hear his voice. Because if he was loud and obvious, we wouldn't even have to listen. And when we are being teachable and we're reaching out to him, it also helps us be in that place of being humble. Humble doesn't mean being poor. That doesn't go together. Poor is not humble. Humble is teachable. So being teachable. And so I want to approach prayer as I'm going to be teachable. So how can I do that? How can I be better at preparing myself to be teachable? How can I do this so I could be a better listener, of being able to see, hear, and feel answers, guidance coming to me? So it's me that must do better to hear an answer coming back. And when I approach it this way, I can do things about it, right? Where the other person who goes, who says, oh, God doesn't answer me. It's like, well, what are you doing to improve the situation? Well, nothing. God needs to speak up. It's like, no, no. We got to be the better person and go to him. We open ourselves up to him. We want to be a better listener, and we're looking and listening and feeling. And we're the ones begging for help. Beggars don't get to be choosers of how this works. We get to be the one to approach him. Now, I've done this for years, and it has been so helpful in being able to find, hear, and gather the answers that come back. And what has really helped me is a simple notebook. Sometimes we forget what we pray about. Sometimes we say a prayer and we ask for a bunch of things, and we're asking for help on a bunch of things. And then we get up and go to bed. When I say get up, it's because I'm saying, I'm assuming, I don't know if you do this or not, but I kneel when I pray. I kneel because it puts me in a place of being teachable and showing respect, because I'm approaching my higher power. I'm a lower power, he's a higher power. I'm going to show respect. It's like going before the king, going before royalty. You kneel out of respect. And so I kneel when I pray. And now, to ensure that I'm doing good, I take my journal and I can write this down ahead of time, or I can write it down while I'm doing the prayer. But to write down what I need help with. Just write down what I need help with. What are my questions? What are my concerns? Where do I need help? And because I'm writing down my questions and my concerns and my worries and my fears, because I'm writing it down, I'm paying attention. I'm not just rambling. No, it's not just a prayer that I'm just rambling off a bunch of stuff and then I get up and go to bed, or I get up and go on through my day. But I'm literally saying, I'm sharing this in my prayer, but I'm also writing it down because I really want to know. I really want to know, and I don't want to forget the questions I've asked. I'm the one who gets to be the one to keep myself attentive during this prayer process, because once I become distracted, I can't hear answers coming back. I can't see the answers. I can't feel the answers because I'm distracted. We are a distracted human race. We've got so many distractions. So to write down my questions that I'm posing in my prayer helps me hold my attention. Now, doesn't that make sense? The more I hold myself attentive, doesn't that make sense that I would be able to see more clearly what's coming back to me as an answer? Wouldn't that make more sense that I could hear with more sensitivity the answers that are coming back? Wouldn't it make sense that I actually would be more in tune with my feelings of the answers coming back? So I must hold myself more attentive to raise these listening skills of see, hear, and feel so I can hear the answers. Makes sense. So I kneel and I write, and then at the end of the day, I can take my book out, open up, and I could read what I prayed about that morning. And because I wrote it down, I can go through and I can think through the day if I saw anything happen, if I remember hearing anything, and also I could write down anything I noticed about any impressions or feelings I got during the day. So I'm now keeping my mind attentive on the questions. Doesn't this just make sense that if we keep our mind attentive and we review the questions we're praying about and asking about, it's me that needs to be more attentive to see all the different directions that answers are coming from. Now, I'm sharing what I've learned. I've learned this from many great spiritual leaders. But you may have not heard this before. And if you've not heard this before of writing down your questions and kneeling when you pray and doing these things, wow, this is going to be a great upgrade and help you clarify the things that you're doing, because boy, when you're more attentive, you can see the answers, you can hear the answers, and you can feel the answers a lot more clearly. And that is powerful, because now you know that there really is a life force out there. You really know that there's a universe that cares. You really know that there's a God that knows you exist, right? You know that it's like, oh my gosh, there really is some kind of higher power out there that just knows me. Like, I really got an answer. Whoa, and what does that do for you? It's like, what? This higher power's paying attention to little old me? That's awesome. That's so cool. And then you have a record of it. Like, you wrote it down and all these little answers coming to you. And I am not kidding. You will raise your spiritual awareness of what's going on around you. And you'll start to notice that answers are coming your way often. So just when you thought that you don't think you have answers coming to you, it's because you're distracted. You're not staying attentive. You're the one who's not keeping your mind attentive. And this doesn't take much. You just write down the questions you have. At the end of the day, look to see if you can find. See what you find. Notice what you heard during the day. Notice the little promptings and impressions you get. Record it. Record your questions, record what you find, and you begin to strengthen your listening skills. That's what's powerful. That's what's super powerful, is you're the one developing these listening skills. Doesn't it make sense? If we're going to ask someone a question, well, we should listen. Every day, you go talk to someone and they ask you a question, or you ask them a question, then they're going to answer it. You probably should pay attention and listen. But somewhere along the way, that just gets lost in prayer. We pray, but then we struggle listening. The answers are always there. They're going to show up through people, through books, through videos, through situations, through neighbors, through friends, through strangers, through things in nature. Answers are going to come to you from so many different directions. But because you're looking, and because you're listening, and because you're feeling, and you're searching, and you're listening, you really are just listening, you're going to find those answers. Super cool. Just when you thought they weren't there, they're there. They really are. And then follow those answers. They'll lead you to better places. Hey, thanks for listening, and thanks for paying attention. And go get your journal, right? Go write down your thoughts, go write down your prayers, and start looking around. You're going to see a lot of great answers come to you, which is super cool. Hey, because if I can get answers, you can get answers. I'm just a common, normal guy, and you can get answers too. But we need to pay attention. But let's stay connected. Let's keep a good thing going. Click subscribe so that you don't miss anything that is coming to you in the form of these videos. And I'd love to share more with you. Yeah, click subscribe, and we can keep this going. And also, there's a link right below here that has to do with an audio training that I have that literally is a gift. Click the link, download this audio, and you're going to totally enjoy just another level of understanding here about life and getting answers. You'll enjoy it. It's a gift. Just click the link. Super cool. And thanks for listening.